Hello my lovely people, I hope you are well. Welcome to my shoulders. It's so warm in this room that I physically can't not have my arms out. Do hope it doesn't offend anybody. But hello, welcome back to this channel. I hope you are all well. If you are here following my last video, you know what's coming. If you don't, let's quickly do that spiel that we always do, which is for every show I see, I try my best to do 2 separate videos. The first one being what was on last, the nervous guide video. The nervous guide is everything you need to know about the show before the show going into it. So things like sensory warnings, content warnings, my view from my seat in case you are yet to purchase the ticket and it might help. Toilets, anything else to do with the show which you need to know before going into it. Then we have this video. This video is the review. We'd put the review in inverted commas because at the end of the day I'm in no way professional. I basically am just talking about shows that I have enjoyed seeing and want to talk about a little bit further, and 9 times out of 10 I go to see shows alone, and so instead of having the catch up afterwards and talking about the show after the event with the people I've gone to see it with, I come and I talk to a camera and then upload it because why not? Anyway, if you haven't already worked out from the title and from everything else, we are here to talk about the Regent's Park open air theatre production of Shucked. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on this show, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So Shucked, let's talk about it. Firstly, this was a very welcome return to the Regent's Park open air theatre. Theatre I've been to a few times over the years. I think on counting, this was my 4th, maybe 5th visit to the theatre itself, and I always love returning. The staff are always so helpful and friendly, and there's something about going to this kind of situation as opposed to being in an actual theatre like space with a roof and not all that jazz that just makes this whole experience a little bit different and a little bit special. This time we're back to see another musical in this space, and this one is all about corn. You heard me. So I do have to preface this with me saying I knew absolutely nothing about this show prior to going in. I never listened to the cast recording that was done for the Broadway cast because, long story short, I do 9 times out of 10 like to go in as blind as possible. It just makes things exciting for me. And 2, I don't know, it just had never been on my radar. Like I said, it come over from Broadway, and they had announced, the Regent Park Open Air Theatre had announced they were doing a production this season at the theatre, and this all basically came about because my friend went, hey, what are you doing on a Thursday afternoon on your week off work? And I was like, technically nothing. And they were like, right, we're gonna go and watch Shucked. And I was like, okay. So yeah, that was basically how it came about, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a silly, funny, great little show and I much enjoyed it. Spoilers for the rest of this video. So a little bit about the show. It has a book by Robert Horn, music and lyrics by Brandy Clark and Shane McNally, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and it has been directed by Jack O'Brien. It tells the story of a little American tiny town where they love their corn in any way they can get it. They grow it, they cook it, they turn it into alcohol, they do lots of things with the corn. And alongside that you have the story of a little romantic couple that almost weren't. So there's a little bit of love, a lot of corn, and also a lot of puns. There is so many innuendos and puns through the entirety of this show that you feel like you are constantly laughing your heads off. And after seeing everything else that I saw during this London trip, of which this show was my last show before I went home, I feel like this just was the perfect way to end my little trip seeing theatre, because unlike pretty much everything else I'd seen during that trip, this one is the one I needed to, like, theatre can be fun. Because although the other things that I saw were not fun, they had some different storylines going on, and sometimes you just want the happy, silly, fun musical about corn. Sticking creatively, I did want to mention the set design, which was done by Scott Pask. The set is for the majority one structure with a few moving parts. I don't know what that hand signal was, but from the moment you step in and you see the stage pretty much stays the same, with the addition of a few props and, like I say, pull out points where more corn can appear from, or a few other set pieces can appear from. But I just enjoyed the way this set was made, and top props to Scott. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the choreography, which has been done by Sarah O'Gleby. Again, hopefully pronounced that correctly. I enjoyed the choreo in this show quite a lot. There is also a lot of barrel work, which is probably not the correct term, but there is some barrels used for seating, barrels used to turn things into like raised walkways, and at times there is people on top of the barrels and the barrels move. I love a little bit of barrel work. I'm gonna stop saying the word barrel. The other thing that I really enjoyed was something that happened in the first song in Act 1, which is a corn line, where the entirety of the cast are essentially moving corn around and doing dances with it. The amount of practice that I would need to put that into fruition would be catastrophic. Like, I'd need at least a year and I'd still get it wrong, and it was just so impeccably put together. Loved it. Top marks to the entire cast for that. Let's move on to that precious, wonderful, amazing cast. They are a 10-10 cast full of absolutely brilliant, hilarious people. Speaking of brilliant and hilarious, let's start with the storytellers. The storytellers are the first people that you meet, the first people that come on stage, and as their titles suggest, they are the two people that keep this story going through the entirety of the show. They introduce new characters, they have some of the best one-liners, and yeah, they were both hilarious. The storytellers in my performance were played by Monique Ash Palmer and Stephen Webb. I don't think I've seen Monique before in something, but she was amazing, and I have to say that Dungarees was and is imprinted in my brain that I would really like it, please and thank you. Sometimes there are costume pieces and I'm just like, that's so pretty, and that was one of them. And she also was an absolutely hilarious human being and paired perfectly alongside Stephen Webb, who I have for years thought is an amazing comedic actor, and this has not changed my mind. He was so funny to watch, and there is a song which I'm probably not going to remember which one it was. I think it was Best Man Wins, but do not quote me on that. Might have been it basically, there is one song, I believe in Act 2, where the song is about to start, and he being Stephen pauses the song and was like, I've been watching this through the entirety of this run, I'm going to join in. Obviously it's not something that this was a one-off, he does it every night, but the way that he like brought himself in, is like, I'm gonna try it. It just brought me so much joy, and I absolutely enjoyed watching Stephen Webb do his thing. We also have the romantic leads. I put them in inverted commas because there is ups and downs in their romantic story, as is in life. So there is Beau, who is played by Ben Joyce. There is Sophie McShearer, who plays Maisie, named after her grandmother. There is also Matthew Seaton-Young, who plays Gordy, who is kind of a romantic lead, but at the same time not. I don't know what bracket to put him in, but at the end of the day, there is a little bit of romance in that man's character, and therefore I'm going to put it in under the romantic leads moment. But I enjoyed watching all three of those individuals both working as a trio, because there is a bit of a love triangle around, but also individually. Ben Joyce, insane vocals as always. I really enjoyed listening to Sophie McShearer sing, and Matthew Seaton-Young is and will always be one of my favourite people. Speaking of my favourite people, the one out of the bracket of romantic leads that I haven't mentioned, and that is Georgina Honorora, who plays Lulu. That woman is iconic. She is literally stunning to look at, and her vocals are insane. I'm sure my friend won't mind me saying, but the moment that Independently Owned started, my friend was like, because she kind of knew what was coming, I did not. If that theatre had a roof, Georgina would have broke it off singing that song, and that's what I'm going to say. The woman can do no wrong, and everything I see Georgina in, she smashes, and this was no different. She is just an incredible human being and an incredible person. Moving on. The other person I want to mention from the named cast, if you will, the ones who are not just put under ensemble, which is rude, is the character of Peanut, who is played by Keith Ramsey. I have to say, Peanut is the chief of one-liners. The moment that the character of Peanut walked on that stage on the Thursday matinee of Shucked on the 29th of May, in case you're interested, I knew that by the time that character had left stage, I'd be giggling or crying with laughter. It was just brilliant, and that character was definitely one of my favourite of the afternoon. Just brilliant, hilarious character, and Keith did so well. Speaking of the ensemble, as I just did, it was full of people that I have fallen in love with from past productions on different things I've seen. People like Tom Oliver, who I saw in The Little Big Things, Ying Yu Lee, who I last saw in My Fair Lady at the Curve at Christmas time, and Claudia Karakuki, who I've seen various things over the years. It was just so nice to see those familiar faces in the ensemble doing amazing work. I also kind of would put Jonathan Andrew Hume in the ensemble, because although he is named as Grandpa, there isn't a lot that Grandpa does, and he works a lot more alongside the ensemble. So there we go, I'm going to put him in there. But the ensemble were absolutely brilliant, and the fact that they are doing what they're doing and moving things around and doing everything in what can only be described as one of the warmest summers that we're having was, I tipped my hat off, because I was sat in my seat sweating profusely and they were doing so much cardio putting on this fantastic show. It's just insane. So I tip my hat to all of the cast for that. So long story short, if you are looking for a silly, funny 10-10 show and you are in the London area before the 14th of June, because that's when this run closes, please grab yourself a ticket to go to the Regent Park Open Air Theatre, see this fantastic show before it ends. Like I said, I do hope to get back to the theatre space this year, because they are putting on a production of something they did last year, I think, which I unfortunately missed out on, so I'm hoping to get back. Fingers crossed. But yeah, that is pretty much all I need to say on Shucked. Whew. So all that's left to say now is the usual, which is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back for more next time. But as always, I love you all lots. And the final thing is the last thing I will say, which is so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye.